Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new day, it's a new
Are you ready?
For Murph's Magical Creations. Home to custom laser engraving and gifts. This veteran-owned and operated company engraves for all occasions. If you want one of Murph's Magical Creations, call the number on your screen or commission through either Instagram or via email. Murph's Magical Creations, made with love for you.
Good evening. It is Thursday evening, and that means it's Goat Locker Racing ARCA Series time. Tonight, we're at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the old brickyard. And tonight, you got myself, Steve Bartlett, and Dean Biggles, producer, and will be co-announcing with me also this evening. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway track is a 2.5-mile track, and the current temperature on the track is 104 degrees. Dean.
Yes, g'day. Welcome everybody to your Thursday night Goat Locker Racing ARCA series, of course, presented by the Veterans for Life Foundation. You mentioned that. It's, well, of course, we all know it's the famous Indianapolis, isn't it? So it's the one that you want to tick off on your wins list if you can get the win here done today. We got all the drivers at the moment currently out there doing their qualifying runs, and as you mentioned about the track temperature, currently, as you can see up the screen, 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, how does that, as a driver to you, Steve, is that kind of good conditions to go racing?
The 104 degrees makes it a little slick in the turns, but other than that, yeah, we should have some pretty good racing tonight. We've got the long straightaways. The turns are more of a rectangle rather than an oval, so that helps these guys a little bit too. But coming out of 4, they got to watch that wall because they'll come up to you quick on that right side.
Comes out to bite you. You're going to bite some flowers and take it out for a nice dinner. Otherwise, you're sleeping in the pit lane if you hit it too much. Welcome everybody to the chat. Shazda, of course, out there. Good evening to all. Good luck to the drivers. G'day, Ray. Ray's doing some coaching tonight during the race. How did your furniture building go last week there, Ray? And ex-CBR 77. Good luck, everybody. Let's see Sisk Jr. get it done tonight. Sisk currently at the moment. Junior, Ricky Sisk is referring to, probably going to be just coming out of pit lane right now. So we'll actually right on board with Ricky Sisk, and you can give us kind of a bit of a hot lap around Indianapolis, my friend.
Alrighty, so we're in the 12 car here. Now, they've got to go around turn 1, and when they come out of the pits, they got to go around turns 1 and 2. They come back in on that back stretch as they gain speed. And then they're going to come into the turn 3 here. They're going to brake a little bit. Doesn't require a lot of braking. However, when he's going to actually do his hot lap or his time, he's going to get closer to that white line. He's going to be closer to that curb, between the white line and the curb. That's his target area. And then let the car drift out to that outside lane. And as we see there, we were talking earlier about that turn 4 being loose. And that's what happened right there even. Of course, he's on cold tires too, but it really doesn't matter. Coming into turn 1. Turn 1's a little wide for my liking. I would have got in there closer in between, like I said, the curb and the white line. Turn 2 also a little wide, but he's got a very smooth turn coming out of turn 2, which helps him gain speed also, rather than jerking that wheel around, slowing him down. So now he's here coming into turn 3. Again, he's a little wide for my liking. Comes out to that straightaway there into the turn 4, really wide on the turn 4, and then he'll come up across the start finish line for his first lap, and he did tag that wall.
Yeah, he's going to have to. He can't make the pit lane right now, so he's going to probably pull over, retire. And he's going to take it out there. I was going to say that steering's on a little bit of an elevation. So Ricky's going to put some times in. Hasn't put a time officially in yet. That's coming up on the scoring board there. And at the moment, Jacob's saying good luck evening to everybody. Decided to give in the pit wall a break this evening there, Jacob. All right. Let's get some Veterans for Life sweep going. My money's on Tyler Justice. Tyler Justice is out. In fact, our qualifying session is done and dusted that quick, my friend. He didn't get a chance to go over some of those fantastic driver cams that we have. Because there is a bit of a character out there that we were looking at before with the cams in the green room here. But, my friend, before we get to all the nitty-gritty of that, we have to go over to the grid and decide also who is our Pole Award winner.
Yeah, it looks like the Jam Polaroid pole award is going to go to Tracy Passions in that number. I think that's the 55 car. Yeah, 55 car. There, he is our pole winner tonight. And on his outside in second will be Eddie Smith. In row 2, we have Jonathan Cofield on the inside, Jamie Mullins in the 66 on his outside. And then in row 3, we have Mike Kostick inside in the number 4, Mike McCarthy in the 3 car on his outside. Then in row 4, we have Andy Kurtz and Tyler Justice in the 48 and 33, respectively. And row 5 is Rusty Rafferty in the 00, Jake Ellingson in the 27. Row 6 is Mark Cofield and Lucas Lyons in the 18 on his outside. And row 7, we have Brandon Wallace in the 99 and Chuck Phelps in the 75 on his outside. And then we have in row 8 is Chance Taylor in the 14 on the inside on 15th, and Jeremy Holt, the number 73 and 16th on his outside. And row 9 is George Dool in the 36 and David Calvert in the 16. Row 10, Mac Knights in the 64, Joshua Unger in the 51. And then row 11 is Keith Haney in the 78 and Ricky Sisk in the 12. And all by himself back there in 23rd position is Doug Ellingson. He'll be in the 58 car.
Yeah, welcome back,
as they go around for looks like the lights were already out on the pace car, so they may only be going around once this time.
I think they will, actually. Yeah, we're getting this done pretty quickly at the moment. Drivers are eager to go. We're eager to go. Welcome, everybody in the chat. Hope you're eager to go as well. Sold out grandstand audience in the virtual world here. Don't think there's even a single seat here at Indianapolis. That's quite a crowd. Actually, that's one for the chat as well, too. What's the seating capacity of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? That's one. I don't think the drivers are going to be too busy at the moment to notice anybody in the crowd, in the grandstand watching this race. You're going to be focused on those 4 important turns on the super speedway here, and obviously you're overtaking opportunities to get it done. With 50 laps to get it done. It seems like it's short, but remember, Indianapolis is a pretty big speedway.
Yeah, that track is 2.5 miles. Is there a way we can take a look at the weather, Dean?
Yes, sir. Real quickly, of course, the weather details are up there at the moment. Partly cloudy, 126 degree track temperature.
Ooh, that's slick. Yeah, that's going to make it it's very difficult for them to come out of that turn 4 as they're getting ready to do on their pace lap.
And Brandon Wallace out there, and g'day Brandon Wallace, who is racing, always has managed to have a chat to us, gives us insider information from the car, the 99 car, currently at the moment P14. He's saying that about 22 laps of fuel. So if we green all the way, of course, I'd imagine if we get a good dozen or so laps under our belt under green flag conditions, then
that sounds about right.
Green. Let's go racing, my friend.
And the pace car is in, waiting for Barney to throw that green flag. Tracy Passons is on the inside. Eddie Smith on his outside in the second spot. Jonathan Cofield, Jamie Mullins on the row behind them. And here we go. We got the green flag coming in now. Coming into turn 1 is Tracy Passons in the 55 car. He's got the lead. Eddie Smith on his outside holding on to that second spot with Jonathan Cofield right behind him in third. Jamie Mullins in 4th and Mike Kostick in 5th as Kostick comes inside of Mullins trying to take away that 4th spot from him, dude.
Going to make early moves, of course, and why not? If there's plenty of space around here to go forward if you really need to. This gentleman are taking it pretty easy at the moment to abreast. Sees the opportunity. Getting used to the tire temperature, of course, get the car up to speed there and get into the rhythm and the flow, which is exactly what is happening. So good to see we're off to a good start. All 23 gladiators are out on track and performing, so no technical issues. A little power slide out of the corners you currently see on your pictures, and I'm not quite sure if that was specifically a Jamie Mullins or somebody, but managed, yes, I think it was the Tennessee driver, 66. Managed to keep it out of the fence.
And Andy Kurtz has now slid into that 5th spot, and Tracy Passons has gotten a quarter of a second lead now over Eddie Smith in coming into turn 1. As these guys go around, starting to spread out, a little bit of single file there in the top 10 or so. and a little bit of double file back there towards the back still, but they're all going to spread out eventually. And I think this will be I wouldn't say a caution-free race, but I think it's going to be minimal tonight because this track gets spread out pretty quick.
Jake just goes to couple of overtakes done. Well, overtake on the 27%. Concentration on Jake's face, you can see on the camera. Moving his way, big gap actually started to form there, going on cars behind him. Caulfield, Lucas Lyons, you can see by the way out there, but must be tracking. So that's job done for those gladiators in the arena of Indianapolis. We've got some more cams, of course, coming up very soon for some of the drivers. For now, we continue to see Tracy Priest, Parsons still leading this one. Eddie Smith is about half a second change down the road there. We have Jonathan Caulfield starting to chase him in. And then you've got a bit of a gap back to Mike Kostek and Andy Kurtz.
Yeah, Tracy has come out to a 4/10 of a second lead right now. And about 2/10 behind him is Jonathan Caulfield. And almost a full second behind Caulfield is Mike Kostek in that number 4 car. Coming out of turn 4, this is where it gets dangerous for these cars, especially when the tires are a little bit on the colder side. This turn 4 is kind of treacherous to begin with, even when the tires, as we see a little bit of tail sliding there.
Yeah, here's Chuck at the moment. Get on to Chuck. You can see Chuck's all ready to go. Look at that. His arms are bigger than my legs combined, I think, at the moment. So Chuck Pegleg Phelps is on the move as well, too, for the 75 machine in that Hornet's nest back there, battling for about 12th place. So, as you can see, Chuck, that steering wheel looks like it's a tiny little Lego steering wheel in his big hands, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And these guys are all getting spread out single file now. There might be one or two that are side by side right there. Yep, one or two of them there on the outside, trying to get past the inside car. Again, Tracy Passon is out there in the lead, followed by Eddie Smith. Jonathan Caulfield, Mike Kostek, Andy Kurtz, Jamie Mullins, Jake Ellingson in 7th, Mike McCarthy, Tyler Justice, and Lucas Lyons round out your top 10 right now, coming back across the start-finish line.
5 of 50 down, 46 and change to go. Johnny Caulfield is on the back there of Eddie Smith, who's starting to really slice in. So I'm not quite sure if Tracy Parsons had a little bit of a mistake, but then again, that half a second gap still kind of there. And Caulfield's back up a little bit. Eddie Smith is getting a little bit loosey-goosey on the back. You can see the steering. You're probably thinking, why aren't they pointing the steering wheel straight with that little indicator in the middle? Well, if you go to the gyro cam, you can get indication of the banking, and that's the very reason why you have to kind of point it towards the fence a little bit as you're driving. Otherwise, you're going to be sliding all the way down that inside bank and into the grass area.
Yeah, as a driver, you don't really see that banking angle like that because when the car gets on the bank, you're leaning that same direction, and the gyro cam gives you a different perspective of that view when they're coming in and out of the turns. As the camera looks like it's tilting, but it's not. It's staying level. It's you and the car that's tilting.
Yeah, I guess if you had a motion ring, you would certainly be feeling that one. But most of the drivers, of course, have just got themselves a screen and a regular racing ring that's stationary.
Correct.
As well too. And that's some drivers like the headset as well too. There's some drivers that we have cams for this evening. We have 4 drivers. So we'll do that in a second. We'll look at George Jewell. But it looks like we've had a crash. Oh, and that looks like Joshua. And I think it may be a solo moment here because there is the 51 machine. Is that going to be... Oh,
no.
And has it managed to keep it straight and out of the fence? Yes, he has. So it hasn't called for a caution.
Tapped by Doug Ellingson, it looks like.
Mm-hmm. I think you are correct on that one. They were battling it out for the 22nd place. So green, because once again, they're at the back of the field. Didn't really cause a problem with the race leaders as well, too, because the track map is still quite a little bit away. They're coming down the back straightaway now, and the other drivers are coming in front straight away. Or at least Joshua is now starting to pick up the pace. So we'll probably start catching Josh in the next couple of laps. As for the driver cams, let's have a look currently at the moment where we'll go down to George Jewell, who was running at the front of the field quite a bit last week, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. I'm sorry I missed part of that, except that he was with the field last week.
Yes, George Jewell. was battling it at the front there. The concentration on George Jules' face. I love that way he sits with the steering wheel. And there's the man. George Jules getting the job done. At the moment in P19, dropped a couple of places, but we've seen him kind of slice his way back up through the field strategy and stuff like that. Anybody's capable of winning the races, we all know. I think it'll be a mighty incident, and of course with green flag pit stops will be interesting. The fuel strategy that Brendan Wallace had mentioned, 22 laps of fuel roughly. Unless he's just throwing us a dummy out there in the chat to make everybody think that's going to 22 laps and he ends up going 32 laps. I don't know. Yeah, sure.
While we were discussing that issue with Joshua Unger, it looks like Eddie Smith and Jonathan Cofield have passed Tracy Passons for that first and second position. Eddie Smith is now up in the lead, a third of a second ahead of Jonathan Cofield, and a half a second behind Eddie is Tracy Passons now.
Yes, Eddie Smith had passed, so just have a look at what happened here. That looks like a massive speed out of the corner there from Eddie Smith and gets the job done. So Eddie takes that, and then a little bit later on, we had Jonathan Caulfield also as well too. So I'm just wondering right now if Tracy starts to just back off a little bit and save those tyres, or is just down on pace or something like that. No, I'm sure. Dougie's had a moment too. Dougie's unfortunately a pit road. Good to see Dougie back out on the track. We'll go back and have a look at exactly what happened to Doug, because he's come off track and had a solo accident by himself. Here it is. So explain that one, my friend. Just too heavy into the corner.
He came into that out of that. It was either turn 1 or 3. I can't tell at the moment. Just had a little too much going into it. Looks like he hit the brakes and lost control of the car.
He's gone back into pit road to get that damage fixed, as these two are battling it out at the moment for the lead. So Johnny and Eddie are going for it with Tracy, our pole sitter, just a little bit in behind him, keeping them all honest, those three at the moment. And then 2 seconds of change, you're going to go back down to P4. So this is where it's at, my friend, here in Indianapolis, and they all want that Indy trophy on their trophy cabinet. And 10 out of 50, of course, with 41 to go.
And this track, especially on the straightaways, does offer a little bit of a draft. So they've got to be careful when they go into the turns that they don't run each other over at the same time. But yeah, Eddie Smith, Jonathan Caulfield was right on his rear end going down the backstretch. Backed off a little bit coming into the turns, and now he's going to try and get back up there again. Maybe he can try and get the pass going on as they cross the start-finish line on lap 11 now, coming on.
That's that group of three, and then further back you got Mike, who's under a massive attack there from Jamie Mullins, and Andy Kurtz just a little bit further back. Jake's all by himself right there. G'day, Jake. And we'll have a look at Jake's camera in a minute, actually. I think we did before too there. There's Jake at the moment. Should be showing his camera there in a second. Hello, Jake, and he's... I mean, it's okay. How do you feel about it? You're not getting any draft from any of the drivers? You just feel like you're all alone? There's quite a big gap, as you can see, up the road to those three up there. And that three is not the top three, of course. That's about the P3 position. And then further back, look at the gap he's got. So Jake's probably almost got a whole straightaway to himself.
Yeah, it's a bad thing and a good thing, really. Bad thing he's not up there getting into that draft to help keep him up with the other guys, but yet it's a good thing because he's got clean air, which means his engine will stay cooler. He doesn't have to worry about it overheating with these 125 degrees, 126 degree attack temperatures. Oh, wow,
Tracy.
That was a big hit.
Yeah, that looks like it's crabbing, doesn't it?
Or coming out of turn 1 on that one and hit the wall.
I think he's on the rev limiter as well too. That's very barely steering. He's going to have to box. Currently at the moment with the track map, he is quite far away. He's on the backstretch right now. He's going to go all the way around turns 3 and 4. Somehow trying to not lose too many places, keep as much throttle as possible. You're almost going to have to wall ride this one, isn't it? To get into pit road.
Yeah, it's very hard to get off that wall once it sucks you in like that. And as you saw, he practically had to jerk the wheel to get off the wall. So we'll see here if he thinks he's got enough damage. He's got to come into pit.
He doesn't.
No, he's gonna stay out. I didn't think so because his steering wheel was still pretty straight. It just depended on basically his speed, anything rubbing on that right side tire.
Sometimes banging it into the wall twice can actually fix it, because he did come back into that wall again. Let's have a look when he comes back out closer to it. No, I think you're right, isn't it? Sometimes the car can kind of just fix itself, maybe another smack into the wall, as I said. I've seen drivers do that. Bends the steering back into alignment, and bingo, you're good to go.
Yeah, you'd think it wouldn't being hit on that same side of the car, but sometimes it does. I don't know how that works, but
yeah, that was Tracy right back here at the moment, of course, who was our pole award. Still is our pole award. Yes, it's still got the pole, can't take that away. And the car's getting loosey-goosey, but deciding, as I said, electing to go out. Attack for the lead at the moment, Caulfield and Eddie Smith. And there's lap traffic up the road. Shouldn't be a problem here at the Super Speedway of Indianapolis. There's quite plenty of room to maneuver around.
They've already passed Doug Ellingson in the 58 car, and coming up on Josh Unger now, right in front of him, trying to catch up to him and put him a lap down. See, as you see, when Josh Unger kind of went down towards the middle of the track, these two guys followed him down, trying to catch that draft, and as they come to the inside into turn 3, they make that pass on him.
Job done, exactly, right there. Don't you drive over my GoPro camera, gentlemen? You'll be paying for it. Actually, let me go for it too for now. As they're getting closer and closer to about a third of the way through this race, we're just over a quarter. Let's have a look how Brandon Wallace is doing. He's back there in P16. Actually, I'll come back to that one because it looks like Caulfield is putting a bit of pressure. He's really inside that apron, isn't he there? That's, you're really utilising the absolute maximum amount of bitumen, cutting right into the inside apron, then straight out to the wall. What if you start to feel some of that tire degradation kicking in?
Well, that's should be the strategy, is get as close to that curb as possible between the curb and the white line without hitting the curb, because you hit the curb, it's a pretty high curb, and that will make you jump out and hit that wall pretty quick. But yeah, you want to try and get those left side tires right inside that little spot there between the white line and the curb, and that'll give you your fastest lap coming around there.
Now, does he also want to get the job done for the OT, or is he happy just to sit back here and let Eddie Smith pull him along? Is the key. Sometimes you think he's on the rev limit, you can currently see right now when it flashes red. And that just means he's getting that nice suction toe, isn't it? Because if he was breaking the air and almost breaking the fence, oof, Caulfield very lucky. And that's the other problem that you do have sometimes as a driver that requires that extra skill, isn't it? Yeah, Mr. Viking, that the wall sucks you in.
Yeah, and it literally does. You get tight. The longer you run, your car gets what we call tight. Makes it harder to turn, and so you're more susceptible to hitting that wall. You've got to back off the throttle, hit the brake a little bit harder as the race goes on, but you don't want to hit the brake too hard, because you don't want everybody behind you catching up and passing you either. So it's a little tricky to do that, and that's like any track, not just Indianapolis, but any track is like that.
Very, very true at the moment. Here's Brandon Wallace currently at the moment. We'll spy in on Brandon Wallace and that 3-screen setup I think he has. Oh, there are 2 screens, as you can currently see on the very right hand side is up what you can see here on ours. Actually, he can see even more on the right hand side than we can see on this view, at least. He doesn't need to look over there too much, does he? Because the only thing you're going to see on the very right hand side at the moment is a wall.
Right. Mark Caulfield and Lucas Lyons have come into the pits a little early, I would say. Well, no, we did say right around 20-25 laps, didn't we, for the
Brandon Wallace did, yes.
For pit walls, yeah. So
22.
they're coming in a little early, but not too early, so that's a good thing, actually, coming into pit. And we've got the 27 now coming in of Jake Ellingson coming into pit.
Yeah, that's crucial from one of the top 10 drivers, somebody else in the background. And this is Brandon Wallace's information, isn't it, as well? We're on board with Brandon Wallace, and he hasn't come in the pit road. Well, he said approximately 22. We're at 18. Jeremiah Holt, I think, is following him in, and Joshua Ungler is also coming in. So it's going to be crucial for Jake to get the pit stop done. We'll go over and have a look at Jake's camera there in a second and spy in on Jake.
Eddie Smith, Jonathan Caulfield are still the two front runners, with Mike Kostek, Jamie Mullins, and Andy Kurtz in fifth at the moment, waiting for those guys to come in and pit. So they will have one more pit stop here in about another 20 to 25 laps or so. The guys will not be able to make it to the end, as we still have a good 35 to go, 32 to go.
More drivers coming to pit road, and it looks like Andy Kurtz, Keith Hanley, Chance Taylor, George Jewell. We can have a look at George Jewell. Is he going to get his pit box spot on? As you can see, just turning in at the moment. You know it's live, don't you? And you can see he's going to pull up and brake. He's probably pushing the foot pedal down there too as well. He's got a Fanatec rig, and that's probably got some nice loaded cells. And you know, I don't know if you're familiar with obviously those heavy brake pedals, but they are heavy, aren't they? It's like pushing. They give you your leg a bit of a workout, that's for sure, if you're doing some endurance racing.
Yes, they do.
Oh, with a caution.
Oh, okay, caution.
Oh, how's that going to pan out for these drivers? They've just gone down to pit road as well.
Oh, that's going to be bad news for them. I don't
Caulfield
see where
just
that
came
wreck
in,
was
and
at,
Eddie
though.
Smith just came in as well too. So I presume the pit lane hasn't been closed just yet for that caution. But I can't see what's actually caused the caution.
Yeah, I haven't either. As soon as you said caution, I looked up and I didn't see anything on the track map.
Oh, there's a car. What's that? Who's that? Oh, Eddie Smith. I think that's Eddie Smith. It's Eddie Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, that's Caulfield. So Jonathan Caulfield and Eddie Smith have come together. Remember, they were leading this race before all these pit stops as well too. So I wonder if his Caulfield's lifted off here to head into pit road. No, the pit lane entrance is there. Or is the pit lane entrance? No, he's just slowed down
Right
quite
there.
a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he slowed down a little too early.
Yes, you're right.
And then the 53 of Jonathan Caulfield just couldn't avoid him and hit him.
So let's have a look and try to work out pit stop strategies currently at the moment. And we'll kind of let you know. The top 11 drivers currently, as you can see on your timing tower, have not come into pit road yet. So everybody else, and Jake is the one that's essentially leading the rest of the pack, because he went in a couple laps early, remember. He went on lap 17, we're on lap 20. So everybody you imagine right now hasn't gone in, will go in, as they do. Will the likes of Jake and that come back out? But because Eddie Smith came back in on lap 19, Andy Kurtz and all that on lap 18. So they've only got basically an extra gas, one lap less of fuel, because remember, we just had that caution, so they've all gone down to caution speed.
Yeah, everybody in front of them is coming in, and Jake Ellingson will now take that top spot. Eddie Smith will be right behind him in second when they go back to green.
So that has worked out perfectly for those drivers that took that pit stop just before the caution flag. That's the likes of Jake Ellingson, Eddie Smith, Andy Kurtz, Keith Hanley. All those drivers that just boxed back in, and it took a pit stop back in lap 17, 18, and 19. Now will have track position. Of course, a little bit later on, they'll have a lap or so less of fuel and tyres, but that's not going to be a huge difference, will it? And this playing out to now Gert Locker Racing Thursday series.
Now they'll only have a couple of laps on them, so tire wear shouldn't be too big of a deal when they go back to green. Now, if anybody pitted really early, then yeah, that would come into play.
So I'll have a look at Jake. He'll have a bit of a smile on his face currently at the moment. He's actually going to have a bit of a relax. He's got this on an autopilot at the moment. He's getting all changed. We'll take a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. Our first caution of the race. We still have 30-odd laps remaining.
right, welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the Veterans for Life Foundation Goat Locker Racing Series tonight. We got Jake Ellingson. We'll be on the lead. We'll be on the lead when we go green. Haven't seen the pace car, so we don't know if the lights are off or on yet at the moment. But we had our first caution, and Jake Ellingson, Andy Kurtz, Keith Haney, they all came in before the caution came out. So that's how they got the lead coming back out to take the green flag here. They're all now on that back stretch waiting to come around.
Let's take a look at Chuck as well too. From Los Alamos in New Mexico. Chuck Begley for 75 machine. He's down in P10 position. He's gained 4 so far in this race. They just took the pit stop on lap 20 that we just had on our first caution of the race. So we'll see how it pans out. Go racing as they're coming into turn 3, exiting turn 3, about to turn into turn 4. Hope everybody's enjoying themselves. Give us a thumbs up and a like, please, and support the Goat Locker Racing community for the Veterans of Life Foundation. Veterans for Life Foundation, you can see at the top right hand side. Jake will take everybody here around to start another green flag lap.
And the pace car should be turning off right about now. Okay, he turned off really late. And they're coming up towards that Geico restart zone. Jake Ellingson is in the lead on that inside with Andy Kurtz on his outside in the 48. Keith Haney, Chance Taylor right behind these two guys. They got the green flag, and here they come with Jake Ellingson, as we said, is in the lead. Coming into turn 1, Andy Kurtz right behind him. Chance Taylor, Keith Haney trying to take that third spot from Chance Taylor coming in, and they have all still fighting for that second and third spot.
Yep, you're going to pounce early while the tyres, some drivers are a little bit more confident the tyres getting up the temperature and are ready to make the moves. You can see all of our current 23 drivers, I believe, still are in this race down the backstretch. Challenge for the lead.
And Chance Taylor has dropped back to 7th now with Andy Kurtz, Jake Ellingson. Andy Kurtz has now taken the lead away from Jake, coming out of turn 4, heading into the start-finish line. Keith Haney and Mike Kostick are now 3rd and 4th. George Jewell in the 5th spot. Those are your top 5 drivers as they're getting ready to come into turn 1. Everybody's pretty much single file through about, looks like the 15th place right now before we see some doubling back there. Everybody's racing clean. It's been a good race so far tonight, dude.
It has, yeah. One caution, of course, and we are now halfway through the race on the Super Speedway of Indianapolis. Pressure on Mike at the moment. On Keith on the outside, though. Jake, sorry, on the outside, as you can see on the number 27 machine. That's the white and red. And Jake will lose another place there to Keith. He's under attack from Mike as well, too. So what's happening with Jake? Playing it safe, conserving his tyres. Quite sure.
Yeah, it looks like he might be conserving his tires a little bit as Mike Kostick now still inside of Jake, trying to get that 3rd spot from him as they're battling out. A little bit of door banging right there between Jake and Mike Kostick. Kostick now takes that 3rd spot from Jake. And again, we still have Andy Kurtz and Keith Haney out there in front, a quarter second of apart from each other.
Look at that. Car's high speed down the backstretch. George Jewell doing fantastic, of course, as Shazra out there says, let's go to George. George is up 11 places right now with the 36 machine. After getting that lucky pit stop. Well, the early pit stop, of course, that allowed these drivers to gain some good track position. And he'll be pushing pedal to the metal on this machine and getting some more places.
And as it stands right now, Joshua Unger will take the lucky dog if the caution comes out. Again, between now and the end of the race, he's the first car 1 lap down, the only car 1 lap down. Have another one that's Doug Ellingson still in the pits, and Ricky Sisk is right now 2 laps down. Doug Ellingson looks like he's coming back onto the track now, being 2 laps down. Still have one in the pits. That would be the 58 of... I don't see the 58. Oh, Doug Ellingson.
Yeah, Doug, he just went back down the pit lane again. I'm sure he had some more repairs. Look at the battle that's happening between Caulfield, David, Calvert, and Brandon Wallace. Oh, it's 3 abreast at that point, which you can do at this track. Generally, no problems. You see an IndyCar. Whoa, big power slide out of the corner there from US Marine Corps number machine there. I'm not quite sure if that was a 53. David, actually. Yes, it was. It was David Calvert. But keeps it pointing in the right direction, which is crucial. Further up at the field there, Jake is still keeping very close there to Jamie's now on the back there of Jake Ellison. That's Jamie Mullins, as you can see. The 66 machine putting some pressure on. Further in the background, you're seeing Tracy Parsons, our pole setter, after making a little bit of a mistake entangling that fence, climbing his way back up to P7 currently at the moment. So whatever the damage you had in that machine is all been resolved.
And Keith Haney, our second place driver, so far is a big mover of the race. He's gained 19 spots coming up from that 21st position. Again, we have Andy Kurtz out in the lead. He's 3 tenths ahead of Keith Haney. And then about 2 tenths behind him is Mike Postick. And Jake Ellingson is 1.3 seconds behind Andy Kurtz in that first spot as they're coming into coming out of turn 2, heading for that backstretch.
Yeah, big gaps forming on our super speedway. But we do have in this series a Pro and AM. So that's where you're going to start to see a little bit more of a spread than what you'd regularly see everybody all bunched up close together. So we will announce to you at the end of the race too who will the AM driver that we usually will interview as well as the top 3. Plus the AM driver, of course, gets into the top 3. It'd be fantastic.
And we just saw there Jamie Mullins at the 66 came into the inside and took that 4th spot away from Jake Ellingson. Jake Ellingson will now should be able to stay in that 5th spot for a while, as the next car behind him is almost a second and a half back of Tracy Parsons. Andy Kurtz still out in the lead in that 48, and then the 78 Haney is in second place, 4 tenths behind him. As we're coming into the back stretch, getting ready to go into turn 3. Right about now, this should be going in. We got George Jewell falling behind the 87 of Eddie Smith.
Yeah, he's really fighting with the machine. You can see it is quite bumpy. Look, there's another car up on the inside. That's Caulfield, I believe. Oh, we have another caution on the speedway. So let's have a look at where that is. Obviously there's no accident in front of these gladiators at the moment because you can't see anybody.
Looks like the 18.
Lucas Lyons, isn't it?
18 and the 16, it looks like.
Let's have a look at the replay. So look at the 18. Oh, he's had to take evasion measures for the 75 machine, wasn't it? That's caught kind of everybody off guard there. Now let's have a look. We'll replay. We'll go on board because I'm just curious. You can see the battle out right behind, but so they're full speed. And as you look at the huge gap, there's nobody there. That's the incident.
It's kind of hard to see that far back.
And then he got tagged from behind. So who was that?
Yeah, there's a couple of cars ahead of him. Looks like they got into each other.
Oh no. Just apologize. I was just trying to see who that car was up the road. This was just the oops, I've gone way too far. This is the incident. This is a battle. These drivers were battling a tooth and nail here currently at the moment. You'll see the accident right up the very into turn 3, I think it is, into the backstretch, yes. And this will cause these cars to take evasion maneuvers. You see those two cars coming together just up there in a second. I think it might be turn 4. There they go. So they come together, and then this car coming back down the inside apron hits the fence, gets into the tangle of everybody here, and then bingo. And at the moment, to just let you know, back in the live pictures, everybody is into pit road. Every single car on this track, all 23 of them heading in pit road. Doug's already in there at the moment, so they all felt lonely for Doug, so they came down and paid him a visit.
Yeah, Goat Locker usually gets about 3 or 4 tire changes that they can do during the race. They start with the first tire set, and then they have 3 more after that. So with 20 laps to go, this is going to start picking up. We're going to start seeing guys get more aggressive. So they all want to come in here and get some new tires, top off on fuel, and we'll see what happens when they take the green flag.
I'll tell you what, Jamie has... did you see how quick his pit stop was? He was in and out. Look how far away he is from everybody else. So whatever he's done, he's taken literally no fuel, or he hasn't taken tires, because he was in and out 7-second pit stop. 7 seconds. Everybody else is 14 seconds, double the time of the pit stop.
Yeah, he probably just topped off on fuel. That way he doesn't have to stop. He can make it to the end now. Which could be a mistake, because if he didn't change his tires, these other guys just may run him over.
He could be preying on, there's a few extra drivers that take a little bit longer in pit lane that may be just banging out some of those repairs at the moment. They might have slight repairs that they want to get done. Good opportunity to get it done under the caution. But that's interesting from Jamie, because he's got that track position then, so which is crucial. But later on, as you know, well, maybe even very early in this, he might get under massive attack from those tyres. So we shall see about that. Of course, we'll take a quick commercial break. We'll be back in just a minute. Jamie Mullins goes into pit road now. Welcome back, everybody. So, what's happened there? Welcome back. Are you there, Steve?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Viking. I just wonder why Jamie had popped back into pit road.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It looks like he was changing tires on that left
Oh,
side.
so he's forgot to take those tires. And
Could have, yeah.
Yeah, now, because he came out, remember he came out for that 7-second pit stop, and I think he may have made a mistake and realised that. He's popped back in. Now he's lost that provisional lead that he had in the race, and it's given it back to Jake Ellingson again. So Jake, once how, again, has ended up at the front of this race, even though he dropped a couple of places, didn't he, in the previous stint?
Yes, and it looks like he's going to try to remedy that by taking the outside this time on that restart. As they come in turn 3, getting ready for that pace car to come off after turn 4 and head to that Geico restart zone.
19 to go. It is quite a bit still, of course, because it's a super speedway and a very large track like Indianapolis, so they're not short laps, so they don't go by that quick. But this racing seems to me overall has been going by pretty quickly because of the fact that we have only had our second caution of the evening. We didn't quite see, and please let us know in the chat if you do know who was the car that was further up the road, because I just couldn't find anything in my telemetry information as to who caused that without having to flip through all the cars. And we'll go green flag racing. We'll find out later on if we can, perhaps. Green.
All right. And the pace car is off. They are now in that Geico restart zone. Jake can take off at any time he wants. He's going to wait for that green flag to come out. And Jake is on the outside. Keith Haney on the inside this time around. As they come into turn 1, Keith Haney will stick his nose out there towards the front. They come out pretty even. Really, I thought Keith Haney would have the advantage, but Jake said, nope, you're not going to get the advantage on me. I'm going to take that outside.
Not on my watch, he says. They get a battle for it too for now. Thank you very much. Daniel says it was to 75. So if we get a little bit of a break, we'll go back and have a look, see if I can find that incident for 75 machine that caused the previous collision. we believe, no race control. So the gentleman's, it'll be a gentleman's agreement to sort that out after the race. How they're going to feel it. Three-way battle, almost for leaders. One, Jake Ellingson, Keith Hanley, and Andy Kurtz go for it too for now. And a big boost of energy, of course. I think it'll come down to those fresh tyres, and hopefully we should have enough gas to go to the end.
Jake still has the lead right now, and he takes a little bit bigger lead going into turn 2 here. Or excuse me, turn 1 coming up to turn 2. And now we got a three-way run here for that first spot. Just can't quite make it. Jake Ellingson, Keith Haney and Jake Ellingson are still fighting for that first place spot. They got 3 wide there, battling for that second, third, and fourth, or excuse me, that third, fourth, and fifth spot with Mike Kostick, Andy Kurtz, and Eddie Smith, dude.
Oh, 3 abreast, of course. We could even go 4. Somebody might go up on the inside apron. Gentlemen, day late, dollar early on this one. We still have 17 laps to go. They are racing similar to what they'd be with under 7 laps to go currently at the moment. And just like that, when they're all bunched up, it's causing a little bit of drag to them because Keith Hanley's now got a little bit of a gap from Jake, and that's where the Hornet's Nest is currently at the moment from P3 backwards.
Yeah, I think what it is because this track is getting pretty spread out fairly quick. These guys know that they need to get out there in the lead. And that number 4 car, Mike Kostek ended up in the wall there, trying to get his footing again to come back around out and get out there. And then we have the 55 and the 48, Mike Cofield and Kirsten Passons fighting for that fifth spot. Keith Haney out in the lead, Jake Ellingson in second, followed by Eddie Smith, Tracy Passons, and Andy Kurtz.
I'll tell you what was impressive, of course, is the reaction of the other drivers, isn't it, when they saw the car in the fence. And they quickly got out of the way. Sometimes you might find that they're in the same chat on the Discord and probably shouted out to perhaps some of the teammates or any of the friends that they had in there and say, I've hit the wall, gentlemen. Avoid, please. Very cleverly done. Jonathan Caulfield, he's in a little bit of the Hornet's Nest. You can see currently up at the moment. The battle for P2 is going on. Eddie Smith and Jake. So Jake is just holding on to that P2 position.
Actually, Eddie just took it from him. It looks like they're still side by side, though, still fighting for it. But Eddie Smith right now has that nose out in front of Jake as they are coming into turn 3.
This is going to keep it in the whip. And what's amazing, and I have to say, from Tracy coming back, isn't it? So Tracy's doing a fantastic job crawling all the way back to the 55 machine after suffering that damage into the wall earlier. That's our pulse hitter, of course. Presented, of course, by the Jam Winners promotion probably right now. Tracy has that one. Can't take that away from him. Tracy wants to back that up, of course, with the race win. And he's certainly in the right position. Not done too. Who's in the fence?
Oh, no, Jacob just tagged the fence there a little bit, just enough to slow him down. And that 2 cars by him with Eddie Smith and Tracy Passons are now by him. Jonathan Cofield by him. Andy Kurtz, Chance Taylor, and Jake is falling way back. He's back down to 20th now. He can't get off that wall, it don't look like. He's trying to.
Yeah, look at the disappointment that's on Jake's face at the moment. Sorry, Jake, we don't want to be showing the cams, but you can see it. Have a look at the steering wheel, but he's just going to back off a little bit. And you still got time with 14 laps to go. You never know if a caution or something like that comes back out. You're right back into this one, so just got to stick with it. But you can clearly see the disappointment on Jake, and just apart from just driving and fantastic driving, he does a lot behind the scenes here at Goat Locker. But
yes, he does. He does a lot.
It's not over yet, my friend. As I said, still not over yet. I'll get that back in the pit lane, see if we get some repairs done. Hopefully
another car back there in the wall.
What are we looking at there now?
It's right around, I think, Brandon Wallace or Chuck Phelps, one of them. It was a black car that was back there. I couldn't see the number from him. But we got Keith Haney still out there in the lead, followed by Eddie Smith, and Tracy Passons is catching up to them, trying to get that lead back away from Eddie and Keith Haney. He's working on it, and he's got about 13, 14 laps to go. He's got that long to catch him, and Eddie Smith is pushing Keith Haney right now in that front stretch, coming back to the start-finish line.
And Keith Haney, believe it or not, as well, too, has gained 20 places stability in this race. 20. There's 23 drivers, so he's almost lost the first in the moment. So he's going to want to keep it that way for 78 machine. Of course, Eddie Smith and Tracy Parsons want to have something else to say about that. As you can see them applying the pressure, but also at the same time giving Keith a nice tow, keeping that P1 position.
Yeah, 12 to go now. Keith Haney, Eddie Smith. Eddie Smith is looking on the inside of Keith, seeing if he can go to the inside. Just can't quite get there before Keith gets into turn 3. And then we'll see what happens when they come out of turn 4 here with Tracy Parsons in that 3rd place spot, trying to stay up with these guys. Everybody comes out of turn 4 nice and clean, getting ready to pass the start-finish line.
Yeah. Now you're getting close to that 10 to go, which is time to make your moves, because time's going to start running out. And these 3 have pulled away a little bit. If I was on Jonathan Caulfield, it's starting to turn up that nitrous. If you have, of course, they don't have the nitrous, but turn up something in the car and catch this pack, because when those laps start getting down underneath 10 or so to go, that's when you're going to make your move to pounce. And if you're with that field of cars, you're going to have an opportunity to get something done. Right now, of course, caution will throw a spanner in the mix with all of this, including bringing back every other one of the drivers back into play that aren't a lap down currently at the moment. I think Jake Ellingson did come out on the same lap, so he's still got a shot. It's a long shot, but it's still a shot.
Now we got
Caulfield's caught him. Caulfield's caught him.
Yeah, we've got a 4-car battle here going for the top 4 positions. And Jonathan Caulfield's a little bit behind these guys. Actually, he's right up there with
yeah, he's about P3
Tracy Parsons and Jonathan Caulfield just passed Parsons for that 3rd spot. And we got about 10 to go now. These guys are going to start getting aggressive. They're going to start pushing it. But they got to remember to take it easy still coming out of turn 2 and 4. As we've had a lot of guys hug the wall there and lose a bunch of spots in that leaderboard.
Give the wall a big hug. That's what you want, the hoop want to do. Johnny's just kicked up another gear, the 53 machine. Look at the pace he had to put down. He was half a second behind these 3 cars that were together. And now he's just found the extra gear, as I said, because he's got that motivation. That 10 to go into the fence is Eddie Smith. So that's going to cost him a little bit, especially at these speeds in this super speedway. It will drop him back. And we'll see. Hopefully he doesn't have that much damage on the 87 machine. Certainly going to be under attack from Andy Kurtz. So he's going to try to block off the inside. I'd say block off the inside apron at the moment and slide yourself up to the fence. And Andy Kurtz has got to pounce on him in this situation big time as he blinks a little bit.
Yeah, the wall here at Indianapolis has that old saying from AT&T, reach out and touch someone.
And Caulfield's P2, but Tracy wants us back at the moment. So Tracy was P2 now. They had to take that avoiding action, and Tracy's retaken that position. So this is it now. Tracy's got to get up the road there, because with 9 to go, and they're going to work together. Tracy Parsons and Jonathan Caulfield to work together here and try to catch Keith or not. But if Keith gets too far up that road, then they're going to let that win slip between their fingers. So this is when you've got to start working out, hey, are we going to play teammates just for now, just for at least a few more laps, so that we can catch him, and then gloves off?
Caulfield's coming to the inside of Tracy Parsons now. I had a feeling that's what Caulfield was trying to do on that backstretch, because he bumped Parsons a couple of times in the rear end, like say, hey, I'm right here, I want to come around you. And now Eddie Smith is
getting pushed.
Eddie Smith and Andy Kurtz both.
Yeah, Andy Kurtz giving
a
nice push to get 3
stretch.
wide. Exactly, that's a good plan of attack there. Obviously, if it does come back and help out Andy Kurtz later on, it'll be perfect, because that will allow that 3 abreast. We did see a 3 abreast a couple of times here this evening, and once again, these drivers have to start working together. Can you see that car up the road? Barely. You can see the Keith. The 78 machine starting to pull away, and with 8 to go, yeah, once again, these gentlemen have to start doing something together. Otherwise, you're just going to hand Keith Indianapolis.
I think if teammates can get together, they will help each other. But right now, everybody's staying away from each other now, as the looks like the 53 of Jonathan Caulfield tapped that wall again. You see that smoke come out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And Keith Haney has now gained almost a second lead. He's up to 0.8 of a second over Jonathan Cofield. Eddie Smith is 0.15 of a second behind Jonathan Cofield, and Passons and Kurtz are close behind, and Chance Taylor back there in 6, a second and a half back.
As a shout out for Let's Go Lucas as well too in the chat. Lucas is currently in P8 at the moment, just to show you that. You ask and you shall receive. Lucas is going to be confident to be himself in the P10, in the top 10, because he's kind of a little bit of alone, which is a good place to be. You just can focus on your inner race. With 6 to go, Keith should be focusing on his race, not looking in your mirrors. When I used to engineer some drivers as well too, and I don't drive myself, but engineering drivers, I'd say, tear those mirrors off your car. Don't even look backwards. Only look forwards when you're in that P1 place like that. That's all you need to focus on. Drive your own race. Do qualifying laps as much as you can, one after the other. And then that checkered flag should be yours first. But Jonathan Cofield now is drawing him in. Now, we've seen Colfield's a bit of that mastermind. He has these spurts of power, doesn't he? These bursts of speed where it may be that tyre saving a little bit sometimes on some laps, and then all of a sudden, bang, he could find grip where other drivers can't. And look at that. He's caught Keith just in that few corners that I've been talking about it.
Yeah, when they practice, they do want to do their hot laps, get in as many as possible. At the same time, they want to do some long runs and find out how their car is going to react in these longer runs that they're in, like right now. We saw, you were talking about Cofield, and I think it's what's happening. You're not going to hit every lap perfect. And when that doesn't happen, he falls behind Haney a little bit farther than he ends up doing a couple of good laps, catches up to him. As we come around into turn 3, getting ready to go around turn 4, at the start finish, there'll be 4 to go.
It's crunch time in the moment. Can Keith hold off what seems to be a flying Jonathan Cofield? Seems to be one of the quickest cars out on the circuit at the moment. He's going to make a run for it. He is at least going to go side by side into turn 1. This will be interesting because the time is now to do it.
And Cofield takes that lead away from Keith Haney. Eddie Smith, Tracy Passons, Andy Kurt, your top 5. Coming around with 4 laps to go, coming out of turn 2. Let's see if Keith Haney has anything for Jonathan Cofield before the end of this race. See if he can take back that top spot again. Eddie Smith is kind of in the middle by himself. And close behind is Andy Kurtz. Tracy Passons right on his tail. Trying to get past Andy right now. Andy did get past Tracy Passons.
Yeah. So Tracy was challenging for the lead just a little bit before. You can see how much it just switches around a little bit as those tyres start to come to the end of the cliff for them. They're not. Keith is going to have to look at mounting that challenge back with soon to go 3 to go. Right there as they cross the line. Believe enough, he, for the first time after leading this segment, he's to the caution flag for a bit. He's only had to focus forward. Now he's in the middle. Now he's got to kind of look a little bit more in your rear view mirrors at Eddie Smith. But I don't think Eddie Smith, unless he can really start pulling something out of the bag, is going to catch these two. Keith's now had the opportunity of studying what Jonathan Colfield's doing and then applying the pressure if Jonathan Colfield makes any little mistakes. And you've got to be thinking about this too, like at 200 miles an hour, don't you, in a split second, to go left, to go right. Where do we get the OT done?
Yeah, right now I think that's the only way Haney's going to catch Cofield, because they're starting to separate each other more as we go farther along here. And coming out of turn 4 now, getting ready to cross that cross finish line for 2 to go. Jonathan Cofield battling his way up to the front throughout the race. And Keith Haney right behind him. He gained 19 spots so far. At one point had 20 spots. Up from 21st place, now in 2nd. And Eddie Smith back there behind him. And here we got Jamie Mullins in the 66 and Lucas Lyons in the 18 battling for that 7th and 8th position there in the top 10. Top 10 right now is Jonathan Cofield, Keith Haney, Eddie Smith, Andy Kurtz, Tracy Passons, Mike Kostek, Chance Taylor, Lucas Lyons, Jamie Mullins, and Chuck Pegleg Phelps. And coming into turn 3 this time around, they should get the white flag.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely should. Barney will be ready with that white flag to say 1 to go. That's what Caulfield will be loving to see first, to go, I've only got one more to hold off Keith, and I've got the Indianapolis Motor Speedway trophy on my cabinet, which is always a good one. Look at that lady standing up in the crowd at the moment. She's excited about the 53 machine. There's your one to go. And all he has to do is 4 corners without hitting the fence and keeping it nice and tight. And I think he's got this one in the bag. They might have Keith have to pull something out of, and I don't think he can pull anything. It's a little bit too far back to do anything here this evening. He's just got to basically just sit back and see if Jonathan's going to have a mistake. But I don't think that's going to happen on Jonathan's watch at the moment at 53. A couple more corners go on the back straight away. Indianapolis soon to be his.
Yeah, I don't. That's what Keith Haney's praying for right now, is for Johnny Caulfield just to make that one small mistake. Maybe coming out of turn 4 here to get into the wall a little bit, but that doesn't happen. Or actually, they're coming into turn 4 now, coming out of turn 4. And looks like Jonathan Caulfield's going to keep it off the wall. On the last stretch here to take the checkered flag, and Jonathan Caulfield will be your winner, followed by Keith Haney, Eddie Smith, Andy Kurtz, Mike Kostek, Chance Taylor, Tracy Passons, Lucas Lyons, Chuck Pegleg Phelps, and Tyler Justice. Your top 10 for the race here for the Veterans for Life Goat Locker Racing ARCA Series here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the Brickyard.
And what a drive. What a drive from Jonathan Caulfield. You didn't kind of expect it. I mean, anybody, as I said, could win this race, isn't it? At some point, we had multiple race leaders. We had drivers that were clearly up front. You thought, okay, if this goes green to the end of this one, they're going to have this one in the bag. Didn't necessarily pan out that way. He's got to be at the right place at the right time. I said, Keith Hanley, of course, is another driver as well. I'd say probably very close to the driver of the day, or picked to be a driver of the day, by gaining 19 positions after a poor qualifying session, or didn't even qualify a lap, really. Got the job done, a slice through the field, and Eddie Smith in that P3 position, as Johnny is going to do his burnout laps to celebrate, because Indianapolis is the one that you do want to have, as I said, on your trophy cabinet, as it's the famous Speedway. This one, Daytona, and I presume there's a few other tracks that you just want to have the race victory. Congratulations, 53. It's yours.
Very good race tonight. Nice and clean. Had a lot of long green flag racing. Only a couple of cautions, as I recall, with a little bit of, I think one was a self-spin. The other got tagged and got turned. But other than that, here is your race standings. Jonathan Caulfield takes the win in that 53 car. Second place is Keith Haney. Third is Eddie Smith. We'll be talking to those guys here shortly after the commercial break. We'll get into those interviews. Fourth spot, Andy Kurtz, Mike Kostek, Chance Taylor in 6th, Tracy Passons in 7th, Lucas Lyons in 8th, Chuck Phelps in 9th, Tyler Justice in 10th. And the rest of your field in order is Rusty Rafferty, Jamie Mullins, George Jewell, David Calvert, Michael McCarthy, Mark Caulfield, Jeremiah Holt, Brandon Wallace, Matt Knights, Rick Sisk, Jake Ellingson, Joshua Unger, and Doug Ellingson back there in 23rd. And we will be right back. You got anything, Dean? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, and after this break, we'll be right back, and we will talk to these guys and get some interviews in, see how these guys are feeling after this race.
Welcome back, of course, to the Goat Locker ARCA series presented by the Veterans for Life Foundation. Steve, it's the race is over. It's interview time, and we've got the top three gladiators to have a bit of a chat to. So, are you back there, Mr. Steve?
I'm back.
As Steve's back, and we'll grab some of those drivers. We'll pull them into the broadcast booth. We'll pull all three of our gladiators to finish on the podium here into the broadcasting booth, gentlemen. Stephen, who would you like to speak to this evening?
Well, let's start with the third place finisher, Eddie Smith. Eddie, how are you feeling after that race?
Well, I'm feeling great. That was a lot of fun.
We noticed that you kind of only lost one position basically throughout the race. You fell back there for a little bit, came back up. Tell me how this race went for you as far as being able to pass and these other guys and get back up to that third spot.
Yeah, I thought I was surprised. We had a pretty good piece. Able to drive through. I felt like 2 and 4. I was able to make up a good amount of time and was able to make moves and get up front early. That was sort of the big thing. Try to stay out front and had some issues that put us in the back and got to drive around other folks, see how they race and race against some guys and go 3 wide after that restart and got up to Keith Haney, and that guy was just stuck on the bottom. I didn't know where to pass him. Couldn't get the car to go by him. Tried a couple times, just couldn't do it, and ended up having to give a spot up and kind of got stuck behind and just couldn't get it back going. So that was fun. Golly, 3 wide racing. I really trust those guys like Andy Kurtz and Kostick and the other guys we was racing around to be able to do stuff like that. That's what it's all about. Just fun.
Yeah, Eddie.
Dean, you have anything?
Yeah, Eddie, I was going to say that was certainly fun up here for us to watch. It was good. I mean, only a couple of cautions as well, too, for the Speedway. Everybody's just pedal to the metal. Absolutely fantastic. And of course, yeah, the battle there that Johnny had with Keith and yourself there. And it's good to see you're always broadcasting and commentating races as well, too, mate. It feels to actually get behind the wheel and get a chance to race every once in a while and get yourself on a podium. It must feel good.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, it's just fun to race guys that I really like to race around. I mean, where else other than Goat Locker can you go and race 3 wide at Indy? I mean, in stock cars, you don't get that anywhere else. So I'm it's a pleasure to be in this league, a part of it. If it's a broadcast and roll, and then it's a pleasure to get on track with them and race. These guys are, it's a blessing to have this type of crew to race around. So.
Excellent. And then, of course, you have to thank all those fantastic sponsors to bring you here in the Goat Locker for the Veterans for Life Foundation.
Yeah, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, Jam Printing and Promotions, Cruising Classics. You got InVets, you got Nasties, we got Hidden Wit Brewery, we've got iRacing, McConey, Above the L Line, and of course Pat and Jamie, all that they do. Really, really appreciate them. Goat Talk, new sponsor that I'm gonna throw in there, and then of course you guys putting on a great broadcast. You guys do a great job.
Thank you very much, Eddie Smith. P3 here, just losing the 1 place, but of course he did put himself in a good qualifying position, which is exactly what Eddie had backed up. But the fact of staying at the front was generally the key to success for here this evening, which wasn't for the case of our next driver. Was it, Steve, of Keith Hanley, who climbed his way up 19 positions to finish in P2?
Yeah, Keith, we were watching you move up. Once you got up front, you stayed up front. And you battled that, like Dean said, you were battling those 19 positions to get back up to the front from that 21st starting position. How did that feel for you getting through the field like that?
Keith,
He's not in here, guys. He's right above us.
Keith, yes.
He's in race comms up there.
Oh, okay. Let's just try to go. I
Can we
can't
go
see
get
him.
him?
Yeah, could you grab me if you don't mind? Somebody, I don't see him up there in race comms, unfortunately.
I'll go get him. I'll be right back.
Thank you very much. That's Mr. Jonathan Caulfield, who's our race winner, also helping us out in the commentary box to bring the driver in for a chat as well too. So he's a jack of all trades. We also have Tyler Justice as well too, because I believe, Tyler, you are the winner of the AM class, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, sir.
All right, Tyler. So, how was your race, my friend?
It was good. I kind of started up a little bit higher than I thought I was, so I had a few of the pro drivers coming through, and just knowing who you're racing against, so just let them go pretty easy to make sure I don't burn all my tires up, and just being aware on who you're racing against is the big thing with this pro-am split.
Steve. Yep. Some questions there for Tyler.
Um, so how many races have you done, Tyler? I mean, to me, for on the amateur side, coming in the 10th place, that ought to make you feel pretty good, considering how many or how these goat locker racing drivers are.
Yeah, I started in Goat Locker back about halfway through the spring series, and 10th place is usually my goal, like 10th to 8th. It's a great day for me, or top five is a great day. 10th place is right around where I try to finish. That's like my goal because there's some guys in here that are just crazy fast. So usually time podium or a win, unless it's like a super speedway, then that's pretty much my only real shot because these guys are just wicked fast here. So, but I've only been on iRacing since about December. So, it's just every day is a learning experience. Every race is a learning experience. So I try to watch some of my teammates, some of the guys I'm racing against, just to pick up little nuances here and there.
And is there any sponsors, anybody you'd like to thank for your finish tonight, Tyler?
Yeah. First thing, thank Jamie, Pat, Jake, just for doing this idea of the Pro-Am split in the ARCA series. It's really cool. I think it works great in the sense that, like us guys who finish, 10th, like I said, 10th's a good day or a great day for us. We get something to race for, get a chance to talk to y'all, get a little bit of shine on us. So that's really cool that they were able to take that leap to do this. Lincoln Tech, Hidden Wit Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nasty's Restaurant and Bar, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, and all my teammates over there who I've learned a great deal from. Invets, Jam Printing and Promotion, Maconi Setup, V Speed, Goat Talk with Eddie. It's a great listen. I love listening to that when it comes out when I'm at work. And you guys over here at Nazra 360, I love watching y'all's broadcast. It's one of my favorite, one of the most entertaining. And then Indiana Department of Veteran Affairs, Alexander PC, SimMotion, Next Level Racing, iRacing, who they put on this great platform. It's awesome. And Above the Yellow Line.
All righty. Thank you, Tyler. You have a good week. Get ready for next week, right?
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, Mr. Keith Haney, our second place finisher tonight, gained 19 positions. He is the big mover of the race, as I like to call it. Started out in about that 21st position, finished second. Keith, how was that for you moving up through the field like that?
Um, it was relaxing, to be honest. It's a lot of pressure starting in first and having our qualifying good, and being around all those fast guys that's just ready to go right there off the start. And I kind of like to ease into it. I kind of like to take my time, and I don't get to practice much because I get home so late. So we don't get to turn many practice laps. So most of the time we just decide to start in the back. That way we don't, mess no one up or anything like that. And just man, I prefer to ride behind somebody than to be up front because I feel like they can learn something off of you. If you're in first place, they can kind of change their driving style. If they were locked in driving a certain way in the beginning of the race and all of a sudden you're in front of them, they might start tweaking the way that they drive a little bit to catch up with you there. And so I prefer not to be in first place. I prefer to ride behind somebody most of the time. When I got out in first place, I knew that I was probably going be given to the Sharks, and unfortunately, that's what happened. I guess I got to be fair and square. That guy had better tires than I did. I guess he was able to learn something off of me, or he's just a swell driver.
Boom. Well, you did the job, mate. I love that. Nice, cool, relaxed. And of course, if you had more time, just imagine what you'd be capable of. But in the short time you have, you do a fantastic job, of course. And second place in Indianapolis is a great victory in itself to be up on the podium, my friend. So just one shy with the two cautions that we had. So thank you. And any sponsors you'd like to shout out?
You guys at Nazareth 360, man, it's a pleasure getting to talk to you guys. I don't get to do it that much. I've gotten a new steering wheel, and it just really threw me for a loop there for a good while. And I think that we're kind of coming into it a little bit. This wheel has a lot more settings than my my other one did, so it was kind of overwhelming at first. So I think we're getting it dialed in, and I hope that I get to talk to you guys a lot more. But I love you guys at Nazareth 360 and the guys over at Nazareth, Brady and the group, and everybody at Goat Locker. Keep up with you guys on Facebook and keep up with everything that you do for the veterans. It's a great deal. Um, I hope I get to talk to you guys a lot more.
Congratulations, celebrate your win there for the 78 machine. Keep handling.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, thank you, Keith. We'll see you next week. And Jonathan Cofield, you started in second and finishing first. You had a strong car all night. How did that feel for you?
Yeah, car felt pretty good. Didn't want to turn. Really had to back the corners up and try to get the drive off instead of getting in the corner hard. But all in all, had a good race. Had a little, you got so many guys you're talking to, race comms and Discord, and Eddie called out he was going to pit, and I never heard, and pretty much dumped him. I've already apologized, but I'll do it 100 times over. That was 100% my fault. So we both had to go to the rear, and it was a lot of fun. Coming up through the field, getting to race a bunch of other guys. Eddie was fast. Passions was fast. Haney was fast. Really had a hard time chasing Haney down, but had a good time, man. It was a good race.
Yeah, when did you realize those last few laps there that you knew that you could get past Haney?
He was. It's all about heat in the tires with these cars, and he was kind of cooking them coming off the corners. I was trying, maybe half throttle, maybe a little less than half, trying to keep the rear tires hooked. Once you get the rear tires hot, I mean, you're constantly sideways off the corner. So just being patient. If I was really good in 3 and 4, we was about even in 1 and 2, but 3 and 4, I feel like I could really gain some ground. But I knew if I got a good run off 4, I could get under him going down the straightaway.
Which is exactly what we did. As we're looking back at the replay of that overtake. You only needed to do that one overtake to get that P1 position, which is what you did, because Keith was holding on for that P1 position for quite some time. And I did notice, I wanted to ask you, we there's some spouts that you have during the race where you're just hanging in there with everybody, and then all of a sudden you just like engage another gear, and then boom, you overtake some cars, and then you're up the road already by a second or something like that. And then you caught the other pack. That's what happened as well. So you're like P4, I think, at some point. At least almost a second down the road from the rest of the field, and out of nowhere you just go, oh yeah, that's right, I have an extra gear, and then you just put it in that gear, and then bang, you start catching the top 3, and then battling it out. That's with
Yeah,
a
it's just
four-way battle.
yeah, it's just trying to manage the race, trying to manage the tires. Getting up there and racing's fun. But when they're too wide and they're going back and forth, you might as well just sit back there and kind of save your stuff, wait till everybody kind of gets lined up, and then you can really get on it. But yeah, the heating the tires and saving them is really big here. So yeah, I was just biding my time. Everybody would get spread out, and then it's a whole lot easier to just pick them off one by one and not have somebody on the outside or 3 wide as we went one time. But yeah.
Well, Johnny, we're gonna have to get you sponsored by a tire company or something. You have to get sponsored by a tire company or something like that, because you seem to be the tire management king really out there. We've seen over and over here at Go Locker Racing, of course, and other racing leagues. Congratulations! Indianapolis is yours, my friend. That's that one trophy you won in your cabinet. And who are the sponsors and family and all that you'd like to thank for it?
Yeah, I just want to thank Nazareth 360 all y'all do for coming over here and doing a couple of races for Goat Locker. Jamie, Patrick, uh, Mr. Ellingston, anybody else I missed it, kind of behind the scenes at Goat Locker. I know Patrick and Jamie's got a lot on their plate, so had a lot of guys step in. It's awesome of them to kind of take over a few leagues. All the sponsors for the league. I know they got a lot. Lincoln Tech, Hidden Whip Brewery, Cruising Classics, Nash's Restaurant, Veterans for Life Foundation, Veterans for Life Racing, InVets, Jam Printing Promotions, McConey Setup Shop, V Speed, of course, you guys. All my sponsors, Cofield Asphalt Refinishing, Cofield Supply and Service, SM Racing Products. If you ain't got a button box, go check those guys out. Use code Bandits1 at checkout, save you a little money.
Perfect.
All righty.
Yep.
Thank you, Jonathan. And we'll see you again next week. Congratulations.
Appreciate it.
And speaking of next week, Steve, of course, we have our schedule here for the ARCA Racing Series here for the Goat Locker. Of course, take the Indianapolis off, and we're off to Chicagoland Speedway.
Yep, Chicagoland is next week. That's a fairly decent track. Doesn't need up tires too bad. And then after that, in October, first race in October is at Watkins Glen, then Nashville, and then New Hampshire. And last race in October will be Texas. Then we have one more race after that, and we start the playoffs already.
Yeah, it seems like it's going pretty quickly at the moment, isn't it, here for the Season 2 schedule? On our Thursday nights, of course, and as we all know, that it ain't over in Goat Locker because you're always racing when it comes to Goat Locker, as you can currently see at the moment. Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Sundays. In fact, they race almost every day that ends in a Y, don't they? So
Yeah, except Monday and Saturday, it looks like.
yes. And of course, tomorrow night, over on the V-Speed Network, you've got the Truck Series for the Veterans of Life Foundation, and then the InVets Truck Series on the Sunday. So they get the Saturday off, and they get the Monday off, as you'd mentioned, isn't it? All the way from the fall series on August through to December, and then everybody has a little bit of a break, and they'll be all back at it again in 25. But for now, we're done and dusted, and Jacob will be back next week. Jacob had work commitments. This is the reason why you didn't hear him in the booth, but you had the fantastic Viking that you're going to get all the way through. Generally through the week, won't you, my friend, here on the NASRA 360 Racing Network, as well as our other commentary team. So any final words there, Steve?
Yep, we have our Concerns of Police Survivors Truck Series tomorrow night on the Nazareth 360 Network. I will be gone tomorrow night. Jake Reeves will be covering for me this time. Wife's going to be out of town, so I got to take care of the kids. But yeah, we had a great race. You know, it was fairly clean all the way through. We had a little bit of wall scraping and some little bit of bumper turning, and only had 2 cautions the whole time. Really, overall, it was a great, clean race. And again, congratulations to Jonathan Cofield.
Thank you very much. We'll see you all again soon. This has been a presentation of the NASRA 360 Racing Network for the ARCA series presented by Veterans of Life Foundation from Goat Locker Racing. Good night and stay safe, everybody. Thanks for watching.